Thank you to Michael Holley. We got one division left in the NFL. We'll have the NFC East coming up for you guys. On Friday, we'll have Ross Tucker, one of our teammates here at DraftKings, former NFL offensive lineman, going to come by and join us, beef this thing up as we head into the final home stretch for preseason football. So,
hell yeah.
That'll be a wrap on that. Very excited to that. But, Brandon, before we get to this, that, and the third today, the one other thing that really popped up, because we're kind of at this point now where it's basically injury watch in the NFL. And I know everyone's getting set for a lot of fantasy football drafts. We'll probably have someone on next week to talk a little bit more about that. I think right now in the NFL, it's pretty clear. We're heading into the last preseason games coming up, and now a 3-week preseason that we know the NFL has. Major League Baseball's coming down the home stretch. And then we've got this going on in the world of golf. So while all of that is kind of business as usual, golf throws a ringer of a headline here, Brandon. Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy are launching a Tech-Infused Golf League partnership with the PGA Tour that's going to have players on 6 3-man teams competing in 15 regular season matches with a playoff starting in January of 2024. The new league is the Tiger Golf League, TGL, is going to have 2-hour, 18-hole matches on virtual courses. They're going to be on prime times on Monday night. So again, think January through April on Monday nights. And they're going to be matches in a custom-made, yet-to-be-determined, or custom-made venue at a yet-to-be-determined location. So think like a normal screen you'd have for a golf simulator, but there's also a big putting area and chipping area that they would actually use for shots like that closer to the green. So, Brandon, this seems to be yet another one of those innovations that's been born out of the PGA's response. And we know Tiger and Rory have been two of the guys at the front of the line with their hand up saying, nah, this live golf stuff is not it. This seems to be yet another response to that.
I don't understand how Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods buying a Topgolf and deciding to put it on TV is going to do is a answer to the Live Golf Tour. Like, could you help me wrap my mind around the fact that and also, is this what they were meeting about? This Dave and Buster's Golf League that they wanted to start?
So I can't imagine that's the case. Now, Tiger and Rory are also partnering with a sports tech group called Tomorrow Sports that sounds like it could mimic some of the stuff that like LeBron and company have had with Spring Hill and Uninterrupted, where it's a company focused on tech and sports coming together and giving athletes some interesting opportunities. They haven't fully fleshed out what else is going to go on with that. But, Brandon, this is all about one thing, because it's not about competition with Live. That's still going to be, the PGA and what they believe is going on with changes that are also happening there. This is golf actually trying to do something normal and out of the normal run of when they have they want to break into the rest of the week a little bit, and they know they've got the number one thing you need to do that, because Rory McIlroy had the statement that for me was the eye-opener as to why they think this can work. Rory McIlroy said, who knows when we're going to see Tiger Woods play golf next, right? We don't know what his schedule is going to be on the tour going forward. We don't know how his body's going to be. But to be able to see him still showcase his skills on prime time on TV without really any wear and tear on his body, I think to be able to see Tiger Woods hit golf shots and to still provide people with a glimpse of his genius, I think it's a really good use of his time. Woods called it the next evolution within professional golf. Brandon, these guys know that Tiger Woods is a legit narcotic when it comes to the casual fan's interest in golf. And that 9 out of 10 times if Tiger's involved in something golf-related, people are going to think about tuning in. Now, this is probably going to need another leg up. Like, I'd imagine one of their early calls is to Sir Charles Barkley to try and say, hey, you're probably not doing much on Monday night. I shouldn't say that. NBA's got plenty going on in that portion of the year, but we could probably squeeze you in for some of these Monday nights, at least a few of them, right? To go ahead and have that value, because the one thing the match made clear is anything that dude touches turns to gold. Hell, you could put him and J.J. Watt, if J.J.'s in the offseason, in that booth, and it would probably be a pretty entertaining form of this. But, Brandon, that's what they're banking on, is that what we've seen in the world of golf is every one of us is hanging on the very last thought that Tiger Woods could still go out and accomplish something. So if he's playing somewhere, I think they're betting on people will at least give it a try at the beginning.
Do they know the TV rights still? Like, where's only Tiger Woods fans golf league going to be broadcast, because I feel like the people at Holy Moly at ABC, they've worked really hard to kind of corner the market on different fun golf. So this feels like obviously it's not a real competition. I'm saying it in jest, but still.
So the CEO of Tomorrow Sports, Mike McCarley, the company that they're working with, said that they hope to televise the matches and that fans will be able to bet on the matches where it is legal, as the PGA Tour players compete for actual purses in this also. So this is, they also said, McElroy said the former president of the Golf Channel approached him about forming the league. That was McCarley, sorry. So all that is to say, Brandon, they want to put it on TV. There's going to be real money in it with the players. There's going to be very little wear and tear. Like, this is very much a post-pandemic version of sports where you feel like you can do this somewhat virtually in a way that's not going to tax these guys overly. But since this whole live golf experience has turned into one big dick measuring contest over who can offer the most money, they're figuring that along with maybe a bit of added exposure, because the one thing is, if you put this on TV, if you actually can get this on the Golf Channel or on one of the network partners for golf and convince them that you can sell ad space in this because you've got the backing of Tiger Woods and because it sounds like it's going to be a little more bright, a little more fun, a little more something that might appeal to younger fans who are looking for something to do in the NFL's offseason, maybe then you become already more visible than Live Golf League is, right? We've talked, that's largely a place where you go and get paid and then you disappear off the face of the earth, at least as far as relevance for what you're doing and competing in. So all this, Brandon, to me just kind of goes back to this idea that while I want to be 100% clear, do not give Phil Mickelson and the folks at Live Golf credit for saying that they did this to try and leverage it against the PGA Tour and to get them to change. They did this because that league is offering damn near 9 figures to anybody who can still swing a golf club and was at one point relevant in the sport. But one of the side effects of this has been the PGA looking internally and doing some self-scout and figuring out what they can do better. We've already heard about that limited field in-season tournament with increased purses. You've now got this coming up with increased purses. You've got Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy working very publicly together, the two guys who have been the most vocal critics of this. And so while I do not think it was the initial goal of this, and while we should still all look at Live Golf through a side eye because we know where the money's coming from, there's no doubt it's had an effect on the PGA. And there's no doubt that the players inside the PGA who have remained with that group are going to benefit from this financially, and it seems like otherwise at this point.
Yeah, I think it's clear that they're going to benefit from those things, the increased purses, the smaller competitions. But this Zoom golf thing, I'll quote Patrick Mahomes when he's talking about Justin Herbert when he was golfing CenturyLink last year. I believe it when I see it. Or I'll see it when I believe it. I think he messed it up on purpose, but I'll see it when I believe it.
It's going to be interesting to see how they do this in real time, to see if they can create enough interesting around it. Because like you said, holy moly's got Steph Curry. It's got Rob Riggle and Joe Test. Like, you've got designed comedic relief in all these areas. That's why I said who they put in the booth's going to matter for this. If they think to include some of those potential star players in some aspects of this from other sports, it's just something interesting to keep an eye on. But they've definitely been working on things as a direct result of what we've seen going on with Live Golf. But Brandon, you know what you need out on the golf course, even if you're playing inside on some weird Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy virtual Topgolf business?
What's that, GoJo?
Brandon, you need knockaround sunglasses. And I'm so glad that they've come aboard this podcast. I'm so glad that people have accepted knockaround into their life because of this podcast. Again, we love everyone who sent us a picture of them rocking out in their knockarounds, feeling good, looking good, playing good. It's all any of us can ever hope for here. And that's the best part about this, is you can do both with knockaround. They are polarized sunglasses that cost right around $30 a pair. They are affordable and you're still going to look good. And part of that is because you have choice in that matter. There's over 1 billion possible combinations in the knockaround custom shop. You can do a variety of colors on the front, the arms, the lenses, the logo color, all the above. They are lightweight, they have great clarity, and they have a rubber nose to ensure no slip, slide, or bounce. They are high-quality polarized sunglasses at a truly affordable price, and right now, our listeners can get 20% off. That's right. Already affordable. We're going to help you out even more because we care about you. Just go to knockaround.com, enter code GOJO at checkout for 20% off. Again, that's promo code GOJO, GOJO, for 20% off at checkout at knockaround.com. All right, Brandon, now that we've got people looking good, feeling good, and playing good, do you know what time it is?
The best thing about being a woman is the prerogative to have a little fun, yeah. Oh, I'm totally crazy. Forgetting my lady. This, that, and the third. Really go out now. Doing it in style. I wanna be free, yeah. Feel the way I feel. Man, this, that, and the third.
Listen, you know what? Woo! Effort and energy, man. It's like we've learned on Hard Knocks. You can overcome a lot with effort and enthusiasm as the foundation. If you make a mistake, you made it at 100 miles an hour, Brandon. That is all we care about.
Yes.
So, Brandon, let's get to this. Speaking of making mistakes at 100 miles an hour, Rex Ryan is set to join the upcoming season of The Amazing Race. I believe it is season 34 of The Amazing Race. Rex Ryan, the former NFL head coach, is going to head out there with his golfing buddy / probation officer. Now, I think this is a probation officer, not Rex Ryan's probation officer, which feels like a worthy caveat to this conversation.
I don't know. It feels like some good bonding time, and also like it's a good time to let you know your probation officer would always know where you are if you're doing the Amazing Race with them.
That is very true. It's a very easy way to check in constantly. So they're going to be on the Amazing Race season 34. It starts September 21st. They're going to be one of 12 teams. They're also competing against a pair of long-lost twins, a pair of former NFL cheerleaders, ballroom dancers, and the usual crop of people. We've seen athletes on the show before, Brandon, a lot of reality TV stars. But, man, Rex Ryan, I have to say, just based on what we've seen publicly, who was the star of Hard Knocks with the Jets back in the day, obviously was a teammate of mine at ESPN for quite some time, seems like a good guy to be around. I don't know if he is the NFL head coach that I would want to spend every waking minute with as a part of the Amazing Race.
Mike, I can't wait to see it. Like it's not necessarily Tom Brady to the Masked Singer, which also could have been false, but let's not talk about that until it's real. I can't wait to see Rex Ryan in those veneers and his buddy that he golfs with running around the country doing God knows what for God knows what. I think it would have been more fun to see him with Bob Ryan or one of his others, like somebody else in the lexicon of the Ryans in football. But his golf buddy seems like it's going to be a really good choice. It's all about the relationships, as we heard from Michael Holley. It
is. This is a relationships business. So, Brandon, it got me thinking of a much more important question, which is, while I am excited to watch the highlights of this, because realistically, I'm probably not going to watch The Amazing Race for what would be the first time in my life, just because Rex Ryan's on there. I know the good stuff's going to make it to Twitter. True. But it got me to thinking, if you could pick an NFL head coach, and we'll go active NFL head coach, and a competition reality TV show to do with that coach, which coach and which reality TV show?
Ooh, competition reality TV show?
Because, like, I asked my brother, and I thought this is interesting. Cliff Kingsbury in The Amazing Race. Most of that just feels like it's for the eye candy, but also very mellow and laid back. You're probably going to fade in the second half of the season a little bit when teams start to figure out your offense, but pleasant company, going to look good all the time. You're going to end up looking like that picture of that meme of him and Steve Carell going around from Crazy Stupid Love, but that's cost of doing business.
So originally when we were thinking about this, I was like, it'd be funny to see Undercover Boss, one of these NFL head coaches on Undercover Boss, like Sean McVay working the concession stands at SoFi Stadium.
Brandon, I promise the coach you could do it with so easily is Zach Taylor for the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes. He was in the Super Bowl last year, and I could not pick him out of a lineup. Zach Taylor seems like a nice enough man. He looks like a stock character on Wii. Like when you have to start building him from scratch, that is Zach Taylor. I still could not pick him out of a lineup, so he'd be perfect for Undercover Boss.
Yeah, the only comp I see is like he looks like an evolved version of Tommy Reese in the Digimon.
Oh no, that's Tommy Reese with the added benefit of years.
That's exactly what he is. All the football knowledge.
You give him the football stone, and he evolves into Zach Taylor.
Hey, Digimon gets slept on, bro. That was so good back in the day. But yeah, that's where my mind goes. Like, obviously, seeing one of the coaches on like Top Chef would be awesome. Like, I'm trying to think who's really into culinary. Like, I would love to see Mike Tomlin on Top Chef. Like him, like hearing Gordon Ramsay chop him, like, hey. Now you talking to me now. All right, now I know what I got to do.
Listen, we will defend every blade of grass in this kitchen. The standard is the standard when it comes to this kitchen. He would have the greatest quotes in the history of that kitchen, bar none. The other one I just thought of, Brandon, Sean McVay in Fast Money on Family Feud would be lights out. Photographic memory, yes. A guy who lives to build himself up and prepare for these on-air TV moments, and just the way his mind operates. He would be perfect for Fast Money.
The McVay family, it would be like McVay first, whatever girl he's dating, which would be fun for the eye candy thing, and then whoever else is in the family.
Well, I feel like with the McVay family, you could do the McVay coaching tree. You could either start that off with like the Shanahan coaching tree and put him and Kyle and all those guys together that have sprouted off that one since their time in Washington.
I like that a lot. Okay, how about this last part, and this goes into your life. What is the best NFL head coach for The Bachelor?
I mean, it would probably be Cliff. Cliff seems like the easy. There is currently, by the way, on this season of The Bachelorette, there is, I believe, an analyst or an assistant coach from Texas Tech who was on this season. He's not still in the show, but he was on this season.
But, Mike, I think you're being a little bit shallow, like Shallow Hal. I think you need to rewatch that film.
It's The Bachelor.
We're not talking about just... Okay, but we're not talking about just how cute, because I think Cliff Kingsbury is a little dry in his interviews. I don't think the ladies would enjoy that. I'm talking about a personality. I'm talking about even getting Pete Carroll back out there. Like I want to see some vibes, some feist, some bite. I want to hear a quote. You know what I mean?
Pete Carroll would be the best 70-year-old bachelor in the history of the known universe. I would absolutely sign up for Pete Carroll on that. I don't know if Pete Carroll's married or not, or what his status is there, so I don't want to certainly offend his loved ones. But if all these coaches were single, Pete Carroll would be right there up on the list. Brandon, I think these two would be the most fun for me, though. I want to take every NFL head coach. I want to bring back Tyra Banks, and I want to have them compete on America's Next Top Model. Because if you want to talk about a show that has not aged well, where psychological warfare was the currency of choice, the things they did to those women on that show were awful. And I feel like NFL head coaches are the only group of people that you could convince that kind of psychological warfare in competition on a day-to-day basis is something that they crave.
It's funny that you bring that up, because I find myself defending America's Next Top Model the way I defend football to people who don't know. Like, all these clips that are getting circulated around Tyra Banks just like reaming people and stuff like that, that wasn't an everyday thing. That was never an every week thing. That was like once a season. There was a lot of seasons of those, and they highlighted the worst and the ugliest part. How ironic. The ugliest part of America's Next Top Model is what they're highlighting in 2022 to try to bring it back. Mike, that was a show that brought us Takara, the first plus-size model, and a bunch of other ones to come. Like, there was some groundbreaking things in there. That show taught me how to take pictures, Mike. I don't want to come at America's Next Top Model because it was a great show, but I would like to see all the coaches on it. That's an interesting caveat.
I just think that version of competition for those guys, once they got over the initial shock and some of them grappled with traditional notions of masculinity that they were going against, Bill Belichick probably would get himself thrown off pretty early on in this. I think it would be great. Definitely. And listen, we can all criticize the things that we love here. Because I had a younger sister, I think I watched no less than 18 cycles of America's Next Top Model. So I understand where you're coming from, and it's a place of love where I can say some of that shit was wild fucked up. The other thing that I would throw in there, because we are a Hard Knock show, Dan Campbell and the World's Strongest Man is an absolute no-brainer.
Yes. I love it, and I was doing my best not to bring Dan Campbell up because I just feel like it's top of mind and so easy. But we're seeing a lot of them, and I enjoy every inch of it I'm seeing.
Yeah,
and I know that sounds different.
I mean, you've said a lot of really suspect stuff in the last couple of days as we were doing edible glizzy straws, so this isn't overly surprising. But to put Dan Campbell up there, God, Brandon, I was going back and looking at the list of former World's Strongest Man winners, and to see Dan Campbell up there with the likes of Mariusz Pudzianowskis, Phil Pfister, Zadrinas Zaviskas, Brian Shaw, it was just a back and forth between those two for a long time. Eddie Hall, Hafthor Bjornsson, the guy who played the Mountain on Game of Thrones there.
Yes.
Like, it was just this perfect place where, again, the Dan Campbell that's become a star of Hard Knocks would absolutely be great with the fingers. He'd be awesome with the truck pulls, the Atlas stones. He's built for it. This is his arena.
You know, we probably did a disservice by not mentioning professional wrestling in the realm of a competition reality show.
Brandon, you don't want that crowd coming for you. I love you, Brandon. Think it through. You don't want
I'm
want
just
those
saying
problems.
a lot of NFL coaches would do well. Like, I would like to see Dan Campbell F somebody up on you in WWF. WWE, excuse me.
Brandon,
AEW,
if you call it competition reality, they're going to come for you. And I care about you.
Mike,
so I'm going to move it along so that I don't let
I'm
this
not saying
happen
it's
to you.
staged. I'm saying it's a competition reality. Those things aren't fixed. I'm giving it a compliment.
Brandon, let's get to that. By the way, at GoJo Show on Twitter, let us know the competition reality show and the NFL head coach that you would combine together for the best possible outcome. Brandon, speaking of outcomes, we got word from Daniel Ricciardo himself, the Formula One driver, formerly of the McLaren team, who said that after this season, the two will be parting ways after a mutually agreed upon end of this. Daniel Ricciardo was still under contract. They came to some amicable agreement. But Brandon, for people who came to the sport of Formula One through Drive to Survive, Daniel Ricciardo was the guy that you met first. He's this very gregarious, big personality that a lot of people thought had the potential to one day be the face of the sport back when we were watching that in season 1 before we knew the good teams weren't really on the show yet until season 2 and everything that went into that. But like most things with this sport, it seems to come down to, 1, what does your team make as far as a car? And 2, your teammate who ends up usually being your biggest rival, because the notion of team over there is wild messed up. And he just happens to be driving alongside Lando Norris, who is one of the bright young stars in the sport and someone that McLaren's very excited about. So Brandon, he seems like an easy candidate for the booth as America is trying to grow its coverage of Formula One. We've got Martin Brindle on hold from Sky Sports, who's going to provide us with a lot of awkward moments when it comes to the racetrack, but I think Daniel Ricciardo's got the personality to just be in front of a camera helping someone cover this sport.
So you think he's done completely?
I think it seems like it's going to be pretty tough based on performance this year for him to find another team right now. I could be wrong, and I would love to see him back out there. Like, he really is just a generally entertaining part of that sport. But the way it sounds like, and the way I've always heard Spencer Hall and Jess Matana talk about it, quite frankly, it seems like maybe this is the time where he just says, I'm going to make the best use of my time with my personality.
Damn, I thought this was an apples to apples Kevin Durant situation where I can compare it to a superstar that actually got out of the team that he wanted to leave.
Not quite. This one, a little more performance-based, but nonetheless, A for effort on that one. So we'll see what happens with Daniel Ricciardo. This is sort of the weird part about Formula One, too, where we've still got part of the season to go here. They've been on their summer break, and now they're going to come back, and you're going to see a lot of these dynamics towards the end of the season where drivers are already eyeing what's going to go on for next season. Contract decisions are being made, and you've got some awkward lame duck drivers out there for teams that are going to probably cause a little bit of chaos. So that'll be exciting to keep an eye on. But Brandon, not as exciting as this weekend, because for the third, I go to this tweet. Now, Nebraska and Northwestern are playing a football game in Ireland. Oddly enough, they're playing it at, I think it's called the Viva Stadium, which is a rugby stadium in Ireland where we played. Notre Dame played Navy in 2012 for the first game of my fifth-year senior year. Nebraska and Northwestern are playing over there for reasons only known to God, Kevin Warren, and whoever else makes the czar of college football decisions. And Roger Sherman does a great job over at The Ringer, tweeted this. So Nebraska's helmets have the very famous red block N. He said, people learning to drive in Ireland have to put a large red N sticker on the back of their car. It stands for novice. It is functionally identical to the Nebraska helmet. So Huskers fans are going to get there and think that there are hundreds of thousands of Irish Nebraska fans over in that country. And Brandon, when you see the visual of it, it certainly looks like a bit more of a knockoff Nebraska end, but it is impossible to deny. And it's right in the spot where an American would put those stickers that either tell people how many kids and dogs they have in cartoon cutout form, or where you would put your college.
Wow. Yeah, that's the problem with these new Nebraska ends that are just like the Arial font. Like, I feel like they used to be more blocked and more big on the helmet, no?
I feel like everything else, man, we've gone for size and speed, and we've left behind the traditions that have made us great. It's sad. Also,
but I do love the concept of having to put something on your car when you're a novice driver, because the whole concept that you take one test and can basically have a death machine for the rest of your life is a little bit wonky. I know we've talked about this a little bit, but I like the idea of letting everyone on the road know that this person is crazy outside of just a regular banged up car.
Oh, yeah.
If you see a banged up car on the road, steer clear.
Yep. The minute you see it, give yourself even a little extra cushion there. I'm with you. Make 16-year-olds put a scarlet letter on their car. It's only right. I understand some of them are sharing with mom and dad. So be it. If that kid's in the car, I'm looking back as someone who enjoyed very much the freedom of driving when I was 16. I'm terrified that they let me on the road. They shouldn't have done that. It was a bad idea. Wow. And so at the very least, everyone else needs to be made aware of that. There's a lot of jokes to be made about Nebraska offense and how this might relate to it. I'm going to rise above that because it is a new year for Nebraska football. Casey Thompson, their quarterback, coming in. Mark Whipple, their offensive coordinator. This is the gem of week 0, which tells you a lot about week 0 and why the truest sickos among us are so excited for college football this weekend. So that is going to be great, Brandon.
Like Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high, Mike.
That's it. That's the kind of podcast we want to be around here, Brandon. And we appreciate everyone that's gone low and high with us here at GoJo. Please make sure you download, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Again, we'll have our NFC East preview coming up for you guys as we get ready to close out this week. We're very excited, very much looking forward to that. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.